Hello, this is my fifth video segment, and I wanted to talk about today's discussion, which left me pretty disgruntled and frustrated, I would say. Not because of what was said, not the people who said it, obviously, and just it was really heartbreaking to see that the public sector as a whole has failed to some extent, whether Diane Ravitch or not wants to admit it. Um, but I was a little upset. I was kind of amazed with the privilege that we were able to speak about private versus public sector, and because we're so knowledgeable about the issue now, we're able to say, well, some kids get better education than not, even though all kids get it. Um, I kind of came away from the discussion as I was talking to Sam in the hallway that it seemed as if we had gone through the education system and had gotten the best of the best, and now say, well, I don't think that should be the right for everyone. The fact of the matter is that wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be a utopian system if we could provide it for everyone? And so I'm kind of right now balancing in myself whether do we see this as, obviously a moral issue versus a commodity issue. And everyone would love to say it's a moral issue, but the fact of the matter is it's becoming more and more of a commodity, and for lack of a better word, I don't see why there's such a problem with that. We argue, I guess, from our standpoint, obviously the privileged position of, well, what if we had students in our school that had brought the expectations down so far that we were excelling, and that our zone of proximal development was limited by having such an increase in a diverse school basis. I think about, well, how problems a privatized system is, but the fact of the matter is I've benefited from 10 years of private education where most of my classmates were white. Would I be enabled to go to Colorado College if I hadn't had that background? So I'm starting to just kind of grapple with these things internally, because I think I reaped the benefits of the best of our education system, whether we still can compete with national standards or not. But the fact of the matter is that most people don't. So most people can't get this education and don't have the money or don't have the background or don't have the early education or blah, 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 blah. But it was a little bit saddening, so I had to go back home and take a nap for a little while, because I felt, on the one hand, very guilty to say, well, I've reaped the benefits and now no one else should get it, or not no one else, but no one will not. The people who don't have the funds that I do won't be able to get it, and it'll be a privatized sector where segregation can once again be rebirthed. I don't know. It's very sad. On kind of from a familial standpoint, I grew up with not reading Harry Potter books and not reading kind of the fun adventure types. I read the autobiography, for instance, of Malcolm X, and I read accounts from Ruby Bridges and Elizabeth Eckford, two black females who desegregated the Little Rock Nine high schools. And to see that if we've made 60 years or 50 years of progress in some kind of racially and gender equality basis, to kind of undersweep that by saying, well, people that have the money can control who they want in their schools. And the fact is that the people who have the money are mostly white, rich men. And to think that we can go back to that system of 50 years ago or 60 years ago or 150 years ago is quite scary. Obviously, there's a lot of promise, and I would love to see a school that was funded purely off of, the funding come from a purely sustainable basis or purely social justice basis. But the fact of the matter is that those organizations don't have the kind of capital that the Walton Family Foundation does and the Gates Family Foundation was. And even if they do, if these major organizations, for instance, like the Sierra Club, which is an big environmental organization, they don't have the funds to scale up. It would not be a massive educational reform. It would be a one school reform or a district-wide reform, or pushing it regional, maybe statewide. But that's really milking their money. It's weird to feel like one of the biggest themes that we have in this class is one size does not fit all, and the fact is that we're slowly, somewhat, jumping over to the privatization side. There's a lot of pluses. It releases the blame from us. But if we're really going to assess educational reform on a national scale, and we've had this reinforced thesis of one size does not fit all, will privatization actually fix the problems that we're facing? I don't know. Some say yes. I would say for marginalized people, it might be another slap in the face. It might be cause for revolution. It might be cause for rebellion. It might be cause for serious public or government action, which I hope we have the integrity and moral compass to do if we see a school that's only limiting to white students, for instance.